Assalamu alaikum students. Today we have a topic gradient. It is also called slope. So what information gradient provide us? Suppose there we have drawn a graph and that is distance time graph, or you can say it is speed time graph. So what does the information distance and time can give us, or what does the information the speed and time can give us? Mean to say, when we use both the quantities that is plotted on x and y axis, when we use both the quantities, that will give us an information about some other physical quantity. So what will be that quantity? So today we will talk about that physical quantity. Okay, so what will be the gradient in that case if we are taking distance time or speed time graph? Now there are few things to remember before we start the gradient or slope. Students, if we are taking different graphs, mean to say I'm not specifically say about speed time or distance time, I am just saying generally about these four kind of graphs. Suppose if you have this kind of graph in which line is parallel to the horizontal axis, so this graph will have gradient 0. The value of this gradient of this graph will be 0. You have to remember that. And if you have a line that is inclined to horizontal axis, it means x-axis, so it will have a positive gradient, mean to say your value will be in positive figures. And if the line is decreasing down towards the you can say it horizontal axis, so it will give you a negative gradient. The line will have a negative value, or the value will be negative figures. So if you have a line vertical or parallel to y-axis, it is parallel to y-axis, vertical axis, or we can say it is a vertical line, so it will have values undefined, mean to say you can say undefined value, that is called infinity. So all these graphs you should have to remember all these things. So now we are going to move towards that how a gradient can be find out. Okay, let's see. There we have a graph and we want to find the gradient of that graph. There are three lines given on the graph, mean to say it is the combination of three lines. As we want to see what will be the gradient of this graph, first of all we have to see it is a distance time graph. So what does it give us? Distance time graph, the formula for distance time graph will be v is equal to d over t. So distance time gives us speed, okay, as I have told you in my previous videos. So it will give us speed. So also the formula of the gradient is, let me write here, the formula for the gradient is grade is equal to y over x, which means y-axis divided by x-axis. Okay, so by the help of this formula you will find gradient. As we know it is distance time graph, so there are three lines. Suppose A to B and B to C, and you can write here C to D. Okay, now I want to find the gradient of line A to B. Here I am writing gradient A to B. I want to find the gradient of A to B. So what is the method? There we have, students, two methods. The first method is that we will collect the values from both axes, x-axis and y-axis, and then we put into the formula, and there will be the velocity or the speed that we want to find. So the first method, or let me write here, first method. Okay, we want to find the gradient of AB. So this question mark now. So what is the gradient? I am writing here gradient of AB. Gradient for AB I will use the formula for first method, that is, because we will use y-axis in the numerator, so it will be written y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. It is the first method. Now you can see we will collect the values from the graph, y2 and y1. y2 means the second value and y1 is the first value. So let me just tell you, if you are collecting values from y-axis, which means a to b, your first point is this. Let me just highlight what is the first point. This is your first point and this is your second point. Every point on coordinate axis, mean to say on x and y axis, will give you two values, one for x and one for y. So if you are taking the value of second point, mean to say for y2, it will be along y-axis, mean to say it will be 10. So I am writing here 10 by taking the value from y-axis. So if you are taking its first value from the like as I have already told you that every point will give you two value, one for x and one for y. So it is y2. Similarly from x-axis it will give you value of x2. Like what is the value of this point on x-axis? It has 5. Okay, so let's talk about this point. This point is present on the origin. On the origin, the both values of x and y, mean to say when you are just watching the value from the x-axis, it is 0. Similarly for the y-axis, it is also 0. On the origin, both of x and y have same values, mean to say that is 0. So 10 minus 0 is equal to 0. 10 minus 0 is equal to 10 and 5 minus 0 is equal to 5. So by dividing it, we will get the answer that will be 2. Okay, so it will be 2. Now we have to write the unit of the gradient, because on the x and y axis there we have two different values. So it is telling us the rate. If you know the concept of ratio and the rate, it is not the ratio just, it is the rate. It is giving you two different units, meter and second, because it is the velocity, it is the speed. So the unit of the speed is meter per second. So your gradient is 2 meter per second. Gradient will be known as the speed. What is this? Gradient will be known as the speed. Now it is the first method. By the help of first method you can calculate the gradient easily. Now if you want to see the second method for the same line, you have to calculate, you have to take these points similarly as it is. Now I am taking here the second method. Let me just write here second method, which is very easy. It is up to you that which method is selected by you. It is up to you, it is your choice. Both methods are easy. Now we want to find the gradient of the same line. Gradient, okay, gradient is equal to rise over run. This is the second method. Now what is the meaning of the rise and run? Rise means you have to take the value from y-axis, and run means you have to take the value from horizontal axis, from x-axis. Now it is very easy to take values from x and y-axis, but the method is that if you are taking a triangle, or if you are taking gradient of line AB, so you have to make a triangle, mean to say you have to consider a triangle. Like this one is your triangle, this one is your triangle. So in your triangle, if you are taking rise from point A to B, you have to see how many lines are you are going upward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. So you are going 5 lines upward, but you have to see here that there are 5 blocks. It means each block has contained value 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks. You need to know the scale, because there are not 10 blocks, so each box will not contain value of 1. So each box is containing the value of 2. If you are taking the lines Then same is the method for the lines. 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5. So 5 lines are going to rise, but each box contain value of 2. So you also have to put the scale of the box with the line. Same is the method for x-axis, for mean to say for run. Okay, now you can see here from 0 to 5, this is your run. Rise you have calculated the rise. Now you have to calculate the run. Now here you can see 1 2 3 4 5. There we have 5 lines, and each line contain scaling of 1, because there are 5 blocks. So it means every line contain one scale of 1 block. Like I will write 5 is the scaling of the 5 is the reading of the run. 1 2 3 4 5, and each box is containing the value of 1 just only. So you can write it like as. Okay, so what will be 5 2s are 10, 5 1s are 5. So by cutting we will get 2 meter per second is the unit. Here you can see first and second method is containing the same value. Okay, for gradient, if you are finding the gradient of line AB, so this is the method. Also you have to notice one thing. I have said in starting of my lecture, if line is increasing manner, if increasing line has positive gradient, if line is increasing it will has positive gradient. These two values are showing the gradient is positive from first and second method. Now just to be noticed the other two lines BC and CD. This line is parallel to horizontal axis, and what is it for? If I am asking the slope of or the gradient of line BC, you will say, sir, the gradient of the horizontal line will be 0. Same method can be applied on this line. Okay, it will give you same gradient, mean to say not same gradient, sorry, it will give you 0 gradient. Now if you are talking about the CD, this line is just similar to the third point. Decreasing line has negative gradient, it will give you negative gradient. You have to apply the method, same method on line BC and CD. It will give you say gradient in decreasing manner, in negative manner. Suppose now we want to find the gradient for BC, as I was talking about. Suppose now here I am writing gradient of BC, because straight line or horizontal line can give us the gradient 0. So for BC, same formula for first method will be used for B and C. Let me write here or just highlight the point for B and C we want to calculate. So for the second point, as you already know, it will be y2, and for the first point it will be y1. And similarly for the second point, that will give you the second value for the x, and for first point it will give you the first value for x. So what is y2 here? That is 10, sorry, not 10. Let me calculate, because each line is of 1 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. It is 8 now. Similarly, what is the value of the x here? No, sorry, just for y there we have to take 10. For y axis 10 and for x axis 8. And similarly for first point, what is the value of the y? It is also 10, because we have to calculate the value of both points. We have to take the value from the y axis of both points. Now we have to take the value of the x, that is 5. Let me just repeat. For the second point, it will be y2 and x2, y1 and x1. Okay, 10 minus 10, 0 over 8 minus 5, 3. So 0 over 3, 0, which means the straight line has gradient 0. So if you want to apply the second method, so can you tell me, is there any rise in this line? Is there any rise? Rise means the value is increasing or not. No, there is no rise, so you can write 0 in the place of the rise. So if you want to write the run, so from 1 to second point, 1 2 3, there will be 3 lines, so you will simply write 0. In both cases the gradient will be 0. Now let's just calculate the third one from C to D. Now this will be your first point C, and this will be your second point. Let me write here just C to D. C to D, gradient of C to D. Okay, C to D. This is your second point, this is your first point. From C to D you can get the value of y2. Value of y2 is 0, and value of y1 is minus 10, because y2 and x2, y1 and x1, every point will give you two value, like you have taken before your two lines A to B and B to C. y2, the value of y2 we can take from y-axis, that is showing 0 here, and on the x-axis you have to write what is the value on x-axis, because every line is containing value of single, just 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. So y2 x2 is 12, and what is the value of y2? y2 is 0. Okay, now for x1 value is 10, y1 value is 10, and x1 1 2 3, mean to say the value will be 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. It will be 8. What will be value here? Because 5 to 10, it is the third line here on x-axis. y1 x1, y2 x2. So minus 10 over 4. By dividing it, I can get, I think so, 2.5, minus 2.5 meter per second. As you can see, line is decreasing, so the decreasing line has negative gradient value. So there you can see negative gradient value. If you want to take second method value from the help of second method, then rise over run. Rise can be taken now downward, because line is decreasing now, so rise over run. Also you will make a triangle there. If you want to make like this one, you can make a triangle. Okay, it will show you run and rise. Rise means to say downward rise in the depth. So I am taking rise. From this point, first line cannot be count. 1 2 3 4 5. So you can write here 5. 5 is the rise, but I have told you the scaling from 0 to 10 or from towards y-axis is not equal to just one line. It is equal to one block is containing value of 2. So you will multiply it with 2. Every block is of double value. 2 3 4 5 lines. 1 2 3 4 5 lines. 5 lines. Each box is containing value of 2. So similarly, you have to calculate the run. 1 2 3 4. What is run here? Run is 4. Also you have to write minus, because you are going to downward direction. 5 2s are 10. So there will be 2.5, that is of negative meter per second. So both will contain same values, first method and second method. Increasing 0 gradient and decreasing, positive and negative. Okay, positive for increasing and negative for decreasing. So all the three gradients had been found. It is all that I want to tell you about gradient. Okay students, okay, keep updated. Don't forget to subscribe the channel. Allah Hafiz.